So I'm gonna help you figure out once and for all just how good the Fidelity Rewards Visa Signature credit card really is. And I won't spoil the ending, but this is much more than just a 2% cashback credit card. Now, I've had this credit card myself for years. This is the first real credit card that I consider that I've had since diving into the credit card game. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna share in this video everything I would have wanted to know before getting this card myself. And that's gonna be done in just 3 parts. Now, the first part is gonna be focused on everything you need to know about the card and redeeming rewards. In part 2, I'm gonna get a little nerdy and pull out the numbers behind what a typical person could expect to earn on this card, especially if they take advantage of the investing side of things and invest that cash back year after year after year. And in part 3, I'll use all of my knowledge about different credit cards out there to answer the question if the Fidelity Visa is really worth it, or if most people are probably better served going with a different credit card strategy. Now we're gonna start right from the top today and get to know everything you need to about what this card earns and exactly how to best use it. So the Fidelity Visa is simple on the surface. A lot of people know it's the 2% unlimited cashback card that Fidelity offers. However, it doesn't stop there. Something you probably didn't know is this card actually earns 6% back on hotel purchases and car rentals when done through Fidelity's travel portal. That may be another thing you didn't know, that Fidelity has a travel portal. More on that later. Let's talk benefits. Unlike a lot of cards I see out there, which start off with some great benefits and then slowly but surely pull them back over time, Fidelity started as a simple cashback card, and slowly but surely they've been adding benefits, and that's an awesome thing and something I see as a very good sign for the future of holding a card like this. The first one I want to talk about is the $100 TSA PreCheck or global entry credit. Now, if you travel even just a few times a year, this is a nice thing to go out and get that status acquired and get the $100 to waive the cost of that benefit. Trust me, the next time you visit a crowded airport, having that TSA PreCheck status, that'll just pay its dividends when you can skip that line and cut that wait down by a ton. This card also comes with auto rental coverage, which could come in handy if you decide to take advantage of that 6% cash back on rental purchases through the Fidelity travel portal. Now, finally, the last thing that I want to highlight is the Fidelity Visa is a Visa signature card. That's a little unusual. Normally, we only see mid-tier travel cards with that status. For example, this Chase Sapphire Preferred here, that is a Visa signature card, and that comes with a specific set of benefits on its own. You typically don't see your standard cashback credit cards like the other ones from the big banks that earn 2% come with that status. For example, here's the Discover It. It'll earn you basically the same cash back that the Fidelity Visa does. However, the Fidelity Visa, it genuinely comes with a few more perks and benefits. The advantage of the Visa Signature Luxury Hotel Collection is that when you book one of those properties, you're gonna get a few extra perks and benefits that just come with the price of that room. For example, you'll get automatic room upgrades, complimentary continental breakfast, a $25 food or beverage credit, something called VIP guest status, which does vary from property to property as to what you could receive upon checking in, and a nice benefit of a 3 p.m. late checkout. I also want to mention that the Fidelity Visa, it's got no foreign transaction fees. So admittedly, these benefits may not move the needle for you and probably shouldn't be the sole reason that you go ahead and get this card. We're going to talk about the cashback and the earnings rates and how you redeem the rewards, and that's probably the biggest reason to look at this card and decide if it's right for you or if it's not. But you can never turn down a few extra perks and benefits, and they may come in handy whether you plan on using them a lot or just when they would naturally come up from time to time. Okay, let's talk about reward redemption. Now, this card is looked at as a standard 2% cashback card. However, there's a few different ways you can actually redeem the rewards that you earn, and not all of them are going to be good for you. One of the first things you'll see once you open this card is that it actually earns 2 points per dollar, which if you redeem it for cash back or deposit it into your investment account, those 2 points per dollar are worth 2% cash back. However, there are other ways to redeem those points, and those points get devalued if you happen to choose one of those redemption methods. The first one I recommend staying away from are redeeming your Fidelity points for gift cards. Here's an example of an American Eagle gift card redemption. Now looking back, I don't know why I chose to share this one because I haven't shopped at American Eagle since I was in high school and maybe even earlier than that. But this gift card has a valuation of ½ cent a point when redeeming there, and that's standard across the board. The best you can do is a full cent per point when redeeming, so ½ cent per point when redeeming for gift cards, while you're cutting the value of these rewards right in half. The next redemption possibility I have to warn you about is shopping redemptions, actually getting physical merchandise. Just to show you an example, you get 2 Apple computers in front of you. They're the same thing. One you could redeem for and purchase in Fidelity points. That goes for 278,700 points, or you could just buy it in cash for $1,299. It may be tempting to spend your credit card points instead of money. However, if you do the math on that, you're getting a valuation of 0.47 cents per point. That's really, really low. It's much better to convert your points into cash, withdraw them from your investment account, and then buy that same Apple computer with dollars and cents instead of directly redeeming your points for that computer. The last thing I want to note is that Fidelity actually does have a travel portal. Booking in here, if you decide to go for a rental car or a hotel, that'll earn you 6% cash back in Fidelity points, and that's great. However, if you decide to redeem your points for anything inside that portal, well, again, you're going to be getting less than ideal value. Scanning through the portal, I've seen valuations range from about 0.75 cents per point all the way up to close to 1 cent a point, but still, I recommend continuing to put your Fidelity points, converting them into an investment account, and getting that full 1 cent per point valuation from every dollar that you spend on this card. Now, this brings me to investing and the right way to redeem your Fidelity points. Fortunately, this is really simple. You just have to remember that everything I told you in the last section, don't redeem for those things. You're getting less than ideal value. All you have to do is use this card as it's intended and turn your spending into investable money. Now, there are 2 options to redeem your points if you choose to have them linked to a Fidelity account and get them turned into dollars and cents there. The first way is what I've always done. Just flip on auto redeem, and Fidelity at the end of every month will take your points and deposit them into your linked account. The second way is manual redemptions. And with manual redemptions, you have to go in and click redeem your points, and you can do that at any time. Once your point balance is over 2,500 or $25 worth of points there. Now, it's really important to know that you have to select a Fidelity fund to have your points put into. The benefit with Fidelity is that depositing it into a money market account, well, you'll actually start to see that cash grow over time. And that's what I want to talk about next. Let me share how this simple 2% cashback card actually could become worth so much more than just 2%. So we're going to keep this part very simple, but for the purposes of understanding how much this card and just investing your cashback rewards could make you, I think this is a great example to show you the potential of what this card can do. So if you decide to invest your points, those are going to be deposited into a core position. My core position is a standard money market account, which is one of the safest accounts that you can put your money in. It's basically treasuries and other things that earn about 4% back right now every single year. Now that could fluctuate and go higher or lower based on the interest rates, and right now 4% is pretty good. It's basically a supercharged savings account. However, if I wanted to and get aggressive, I could also take that money from the money market account and put that in some sort of a stock market ETF, and that could potentially grow it even more. I'll show you the numbers in both scenarios, and fortunately, we can make this really realistic, because what I'll do is I'll take the standard single American person spending. We have that data, and it's provided by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The BLS says that a typical American spends about $34,239 every single year on credit card related purchases. So that's pretty easy. That breaks down to $2,853 in spend a month. And if you're earning 2% flat cash back on that, that's going to be 5,706 Fidelity points, or $57.06 every single month that will be transferred out of Fidelity points and into your investment account. So let's go and see, just for pure interest's sake, how much $57.06 in credit card rewards, when invested or just saved in a money market account earning 4%, how much that would grow over time. Fortunately for you, I've gone ahead and done the math. I plugged it into a compound growth calculator, and I can show you what each amount will be after year 1, year 5, and year 10. Diving into those numbers, after 1 year, if you decide to put that money into just a money market account and it earns 4% back, the typical American would have earned $697, and only $12.69 would have been from interest earnings because that account is slowly growing. Now, if they decided to get more aggressive and invested in, let's say they make 8% back a year just for this example. Sometimes it will be higher and sometimes it will be lower. Well, after year 1, those credit card rewards would have turned into $710.39. What if we skip forward 5 years though? At year 5, continuing to invest the same $57.06 from your credit card rewards into your Fidelity account, if you left it in the money market, that grows to $3,783, with $359 of them being from interest that the account was slowly growing. It jumps to $4,192.59, with $768.99 in interest growth if you decide to invest in the stock market and get 8% on your money. Now, these numbers get even crazier if you decide to do this and you're still swiping this card, spending the same amount of money and depositing every month, but for 10 years. After 10 years, if you leave that money in the money market still earning 4%, you're going to earn $8,402 from just your credit card rewards, and $1,554 that will have been from interest. However, if you invested that, you've cracked through $10,000 in credit card rewards. That year 10 total invested would be $10,438.90, with $3,591.70 coming in just interest growth. Now, what does that mean for real return on spend? Well, you thought this was just a 2% cashback card. However, if you take the total value of your spending and divide it by the number you're getting back in terms of growth when it's invested, well, yeah, for year 1, you're going to get about a 2.1% return on spend. But by year 5, that total return on spend, because your credit card rewards are slowly growing and becoming more valuable in the background, that jumps to 2.4%. And by year 10, you've now earned over 3% value on every single purchase you've made with this card. This 2% card has actually turned into a 3% card because of the growth. And your return on spend is 3.04%. And that will continue to grow year after year after year. So if this is a long-term play for you, this could one day be like a 4 or 4.5% card if you just stick by this and use it consistently and decide to invest your credit card rewards. Pretty incredible to think about. Now, people always ask, is it better to go cashback or travel credit card setup? And I can actually share the real numbers of deciding to go with a travel credit card setup. Now, I'll keep it really simple. However, if you've listened to the channel, you'll know that I believe my current hybrid setup, that's mostly travel, but some cashback, that can earn pretty much a 3x or 3% return on every single dollar I spend now. That's because travel points are more valuable. I have access to transfer partners, which you can get even more value from those points. I won't get into it here, but I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if that's something you're interested in learning more about. But just remember, 3x or 3% back is pretty reasonable on every single dollar I would spend. Applying those same principles, I'll share the values in year 1, year 5, and year 10 on the screen now. You'll see that the Fidelity Visa doesn't catch up to the value of a good travel setup until year 10 and beyond. That's when it makes its first jump, and the value of that interest and the compound growth, that overtakes a good travel card setup, and then you start earning more on this card than you would managing multiple cards in a travel credit card setup. So let's talk big picture. Is the Fidelity Visa really worth it? Or should you go for a different option? Well, I hope at this point in the video, you can answer that question by yourself. However, I'll share 3 key principles on both sides of the argument to help you decide. You might be Team Fidelity Cashback Credit Card if you want a simple one-card setup. Or maybe you don't want to think about a complicated credit card that you're always having to check. As you see, you can put this one on autopilot, just let it go for years and years and years, and the rewards will slowly grow and become more valuable over time. Or maybe you like to see cash going into your accounts. You don't care about traveling, you don't care about cards with benefits or hotel nights or airplane perks. You want cash going into your wallet. this could be one of the best cards for you. However, you might be interested in some of my other videos talking about travel credit cards if, one, you view investing very separately from credit cards and want to keep those areas completely different in your life. You're someone who might enjoy maximizing different spending categories and doesn't mind flipping through different credit cards depending on what you're purchasing to get the most bang for your buck. Or you just simply love to travel and you want to use credit cards to actually get free or heavily discounted vacations or work trips, and that's just a nice perk you want in your life. The bottom line is there's no one size fits all. You can look at the numbers, but hey, those are just a guide and they're going to be different for each person depending on how you use your card and what you really want to put your time and effort into. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.